You know, at all these big press events, from film festivals to movie junkets, something's changing. A new strategy is quietly taking hold among Hollywood's biggest stars. Where you used to expect all this outspoken political commentary, now, well, a very calculated silence is becoming the new norm. So let's get into this major shift in celebrity culture.
Right. That's the big question, isn't it? Why are Hollywood's biggest stars suddenly so quiet about politics? Is this them backing away from some kind of public duty? Or is it a really savvy new playbook for surviving in a world that's just so divided? We're going to break down what's actually happening on the red carpet and what it all means for what it even means to be a star today.
All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll take you right to the front lines of a recent film festival. Then, we'll look at the tricky gotcha questions that actors are facing. After that, we'll dive into their new strategy of staying silent, see how the industry is reacting, and finally, we'll connect all the dots to figure out what this means for the future of stardom.
Okay, so our story really kicks off at the recent Berlin Film Festival. And honestly, it's become the perfect example of this whole new dynamic. It's kind of become a flashpoint where you can really see the tension between artists who are just trying to promote their work and journalists who are looking for a political statement. So the whole vibe is changing. Press conferences, which used to be all about the art, the movie, the craft, they're now getting dominated by these really pointed questions about social and political issues. And that creates this super high-stakes environment where any answer, or even not answering, can get clipped, go viral, and spark instant backlash online.
So what kind of questions are we really talking about here? Well, a lot of people see them as traps or setups. These really broad, politically loaded questions that basically put actors in a no-win situation. They're being forced to comment on incredibly complex issues that have nothing to do with the film they're actually there to talk about.
I mean, just think about the weight of this question. You've got Neil Patrick Harris, who's there to talk about a movie, and he's suddenly being asked to frame his art as some kind of tool in a global political war. That is a heavy, heavy question for a press junket.
And here's another one. Right after getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, Michelle Yeoh gets asked to weigh in on Hollywood's systemic diversity policies. See how that just pivots the whole conversation away from her incredible personal achievement and throws her right into this massive, contentious debate about the industry itself?
And this one for Rupert Grint is maybe the most direct of them all. He's in Germany promoting a new film, and he's asked about the political state of his home country. It just goes to show this clear pattern. Journalists are really pushing for political soundbites no matter what the context is. So, faced with this kind of high-pressure environment, a whole new set of tactics has started to pop up. Instead of jumping into the debate, a lot of A-listers are now choosing to deflect, stay neutral, or just stay silent altogether. And make no mistake, it's a very deliberate, strategic choice.
Michelle Yeoh is a perfect case study. When she's asked about U.S. politics, she just masterfully sidesteps the whole thing by saying she doesn't understand it. It's so simple but so effective. It just shuts down that whole line of questioning because she's refusing to be positioned as some kind of expert on it.
Then you have Kevin James, who takes a different route, but it's just as effective. He brings the conversation right back to his job as an entertainer. His message is crystal clear. My whole purpose is to give you an escape, not to get into the very craziness you're trying to get a break from.
Rupert Grint's answer is another brilliant tactic. It's short, to the point. Some people have started calling this the Sweeney Defense. It's not a refusal to ever speak out, but it's taking back control. He's basically saying, hey, I'll engage, but it's going to be on my terms, not yours.
So this really shows a massive shift. The old way of thinking was that stars should use their platform for activism. That's being replaced by this new reality where it's all about protecting the project and your career by just staying neutral. The goal isn't to win the debate anymore, it's to avoid the trap completely.
Now, this whole trend has definitely not gone unnoticed. This strategy of silence has become so common that it's actually forcing a reaction from both the media outlets covering these things and the festival organizers themselves.
And this is pretty wild. The Berlin Film Festival actually put out an official statement, and you can really read this as a direct defense of the actors. The festival itself is basically pushing back, saying maybe the questioning has gone a little too far and the focus should really be on the art.
And, of course, the media is covering this from every angle. Big publications are reporting on this wave of celebrity silence, but at the exact same time, you have journalists who are getting really frustrated, arguing that artists with these huge platforms have a social responsibility to speak out. So you get this really fascinating conflict happening within the media itself.
So what does all this mean for the future? It really feels like we're watching the unwritten contract between celebrities and the public get redrawn right in front of our eyes. It makes you question what we should even expect from our stars in an age of such intense political division.
When it comes right down to it, this whole shift probably isn't being driven by some deep philosophical change. It's about something much more practical. Actors and their teams, they've done the math. In today's world, a political statement is way more likely to tick off audiences and hurt box office numbers than it is to win over new fans. It's a business decision, plain and simple.
And that leaves us with one last big question. Is this calculated silence just a really smart strategy for navigating a tricky public landscape? Or is it an abdication of moral responsibility right when influential voices might be needed the most? That's definitely something to think about.